Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. Today we're gonna jump into another GTO trainer session. This is a series where we play all different kinds of GTO spots, and today we're playing the MP2 Open versus Big Blind Call, which is a tournament spot played on 50 big blind stacks, where we are the MP2 Open player, open raising to 2.5 BBs and the big blind calls. So let's jump right into it. For our first hand, we've got pocket jacks on a 6, 8, 10 with 2 hearts. I think we're betting 2 here. Okay, we are not. We should rather be betting 5, 96% of the time with pocket jacks here. I think that's to protect our hand. And yeah, it's a small EV loss to bet 2 here, but the solver only does that like 5% of the time. We get raised nonetheless, so we're just going to call here. And that's again a bad decision. We should just re-raise. And the solver re-raises here almost 100% of the time. So now the villain bets 3/4 on the turn. And we're gonna shove now. So yeah, it makes sense really to raise it on the flop and put it in on the turn. But let's see what the villain has. The villain actually has a straight, so that's why we want to raise the flop, I guess, just to put it in versus the draws. Or maybe I had like ace 10. 7, 6 of hearts on an ace 6, 10. That's gonna be a bet 2. Again, this is a bet 5, played 82% of the time. Betting 2 is fine, but only 13% of the strategy. Now we've got pocket 5s on a king 6 queen with 2 hearts. That's probably a bet 5. It is. Villain's gonna call. Yep. Ace on the turn. Ace of clubs. Now do we continue betting here with our hand, or do we give it up? I think we continue betting because we don't have many worse hands here. Yeah. 68% of the time we should bet 3/4. We get raised, so we just fold it. Yep. Now we've got pocket 6s on a jack 6, 6. So a dream board. I think we bet 2 here. Yeah. The villain unfortunately folds, but what can you do? Ace queen off on a 6, 4, 6. It's gonna be a bet 2. Yes, it is. We get raised, so we're going to call here. Okay, we shouldn't call actually. This should be a fold 99% of the time. Calling is a very, very rare strategy and a small EV loss. Okay, the villain checks the turn. So we're gonna check as well. And a 4 of hearts means we're checking it down. And we win. Cool. Jack queen of clubs on a 5 queen ace. That's gonna be a bet 2. Or a bet 5. Either way is fine. 4 of hearts on the turn. Do we continue betting here? I think not. I think we check. Yes, we should check here 84% of the time. Deuce of clubs on the turn, on the river. I think now we should take a stab. Or how much to bet? I think maybe betting half pot is fine here. Okay, so we should check 89% of the time. Betting half pot is 5% of the strategy and pretty much similar EV as checking. So I think it's actually the better play because I don't think we can win by checking behind that often, but villain folds. So now we have 10, 8 of hearts on a 10, 6 deuce. Is that a bet 5? Okay, it's a bet 2, 51% of the time, bet 5, 20, and check another 30% of the time. Now I have ace 6 of clubs on a 7, 10 king, it's a bet 2. Or a check, okay, this is a spot where we should check 52% of the time. We get called, queen of hearts on the turn, we're checking behind. And solver actually likes betting on this queen of hearts and does that 46% of the time. Nonetheless, there's a deuce of spades on the river and the villain checks. I think we check behind. Again, solver likes actually betting half pot here. Just 8% of the time. And 89% of the time it checks. The EV is pretty much similar. And we lose versus straight, so good that we didn't bet. Ace queen suited on a 9 deuce queen. Could that be a bet 5? Let's bet 2. Okay, it is a bet 5. Either way is fine, but better to bet 5 here. King of hearts on the turn. Should we continue betting? Should we check? I think we should probably continue betting. Bet 7 here. Okay, it's a check. 93% of the time. Betting 3/4 is 6% of the strategy and similar EV loss. I mean, yeah. And a 5 of clubs on the river. Are we checking it down? Are we thin value betting? I think we're checking it down. Yeah, we should. And we win. 7, 6 of hearts on a tray 10 queen. That's a bet 2. Or a bet 5, quarter of the time. Villain calls. We have another 3 on the turn. Do we take another stab at this? I think we do, with 7, 6 of hearts. We should actually overbet 42% of the time here, ideally. And bet 3/4, 27.5. We get called again, and there's a king of hearts on the river. Now at this point, do we give up on this hand, or do we bet? I think we gotta bet. I mean, we don't have many weaker hands here. Probably. Or maybe we should give up on it, since we got called twice. The board is quite dry. I'm gonna try and bet half pot here. Okay, so solver likes shoving 70% of the time here. Betting half pot is 13.5% of the strategy. Small EV loss. So I would assume it bets 3/4, something like 18% of the time. Cool. We get called by a queen, unfortunately, so. King jack off on a 3, 10, 10. That's a bet 2 or a check? Yeah, that's a check, ideally, but bet 2 65% of the time. Villain folds. Ace queen off on a king 7, 7. That's a bet 2. Villain folds. Pocket queens on a tray 8 king. That's a bet 2 again. It is, villain folds. Ace 9 of hearts on an 8 deuce jack. Bet 2. Yep, and the villain calls. Another jack on the turn, also bringing in the flush draw. Do we bet here? I think we do. Bet 3/4. Okay, check 74% of the time. Bet 3/4, 23% of the time. Same EV, so villain folds. Pocket jacks on a 7, 7 tray. It's a bet 2. Yep, villain folds. Pocket aces on 9, 3 king. That's a bet 2. Or a bet 5. We get called, another 3 on the turn. We continue betting. Maybe it's an overbet. Probably not, it's a bet 3/4. No, okay, it is an overbet. 92% of the time. And the rest of the strategy is betting 3/4 with a small EV loss, very small. Villain folds. Ace-5 suited on a 7-4-9. We're gonna bet 2. Maybe it's a check? Okay, it's a bet 2. 61% of the time. Bet 5 is slightly preferable, but 24% of the strategy. Villain folds. Aces again on a 4-Jack-4. That's a bet 5. And that's a bet 2. Huh. Interesting. 90% of the time we should bet 2 here. Villain folds. King 9 of hearts on a 6-4 queen. Betting 2. Yep. Villain calls. 10 on the turn. Could that be an overbet? Let's try it. It is an overbet, 92% of the time. Villain folds. Pocket deuces on a deuce king 5. We're betting 5 here. And it should be a bet 2 instead. 96% of the time. Jack on the turn. I think we're continuing our strong line. And betting 3/4 or over betting. I think we're betting 3/4. Yep, 86% of the time. Villain calls again. And a 7 of spades on the river means we are shoving. And unfortunately the villain's got a flush. What are you gonna do? Ace queen off on a 9 queen 5. We're betting 2. Or betting 5. We get called. Jack on the turn. We're continuing betting. And surprisingly, hero likes checking here 84% of the time with our ace queen. It bets 3/4 15% of the time. Deuce on the river, villain checks. And we're gonna bet 3/4. And betting half pot would be the preferred play here, 71% of the time. Okay. Now we have pocket 5s on a 9 king deuce. It's a bet 2. We get raised and I think we fold our pocket 5s. Okay, so we call 32% of the time, we fold 66. Ace 10 off on a 7 deuce 10, 7 deuce ace. We're betting 2. Villain folds. Pocket 7s now on a 4 king jack with 2 hearts. We're betting 2 again. Or checking. We should mostly check here actually. We get called. Deuce of hearts on the turn means we're gonna check. And villain likes betting here half of the time, betting 7, and half of the time it's checking. Queen on the river. I think we're checking it down, or are we betting 5 here? I think we're checking it down. Okay, we should be betting 5 here. 40% of the time. Checking it down is a very, very rare play, just 1% of the strategy and a small EV loss. Good to know. Ace 5 of diamonds on a 10 tray 10. We're betting 2. Or checking. Villain calls. 6 of spades on the turn. I think we can check here. As we should, 94% of the time. And we hit an ace on the river. So we're gonna bet half pot. And surprisingly, should actually just check behind here 99.5% of the time. It's weird. Why should we not try to extract some value here on the river? We've played our 25 hands for the day. Perfect. Let's exit the session. And again, we've got a quite good session, just minus 10 BBs of EV loss. Yeah, our hands, just this pocket jacks, was over 1 BB of EV loss. And yeah, here we just called on the flop instead of raising. We can see the solver is raising here 100% of the time. And when it comes to our frequencies, our folds were on point, but when it comes to checking or calling and betting or raising, again, our aggression is too heavy. We need to balance our checks and calls better. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stayed this long, please leave a comment below. Just write GTO. You can also ask any question you might have. If you're not subscribed here already, please do so now. Give this video a thumbs up and check out some of my previous videos. You can find the links to all the playlists in the description of this video. So I hope you do check them out, and if you do, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye.